Sometimes I'd have to bring you down to earth too. I know this verse hurts you. I tell you what, I give you advice. I'm feeling nice. Your vices could influence your writing if you weren't biting.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade. Today we're going to be talking about AEW Dynamite from February 22nd, 2023. An absolutely turgid episode of AEW Dynamite. I said before, this guy needs an editor. He needs an author. He needs somebody to help him with storytelling. Tony Khan is in trouble. He in over his head. Way over his head. Like, we're at the point now where it's not like, he's having one or two good ideas that's sticking his face above the water. Now he's so far deep that even a good idea looks like a bad idea from a distance. You have to really, really try to like this show in order to like this show. All right, let's start with the news and notes. Let's first start with his big announcement. His big, huge announcement. An announcement that was so big, they went through all the trouble of announcing the CEO, general manager, creative director, vice president of talent relations, president of all things television, and CEO Tony Khan, just so he can introduce someone else. So he brings in Adam Cole. And Adam Cole announces two things. One, there's going to be a new AEW show called AEW All Access that will air after Dynamite starting in March. And that same night, he will have his in-ring return. Both things that I like. So let's start with things that I like. One, Adam Cole is going to return to the ring, which is great because I thought it wasn't going to happen. I legit thought, hey, this guy is going to be the mascot of AEW from now on. He's going to bring him out to smile. And that's pretty much it, to show everybody he's still alive, and that's it. He wasn't going to do anything else. So now that they're going to have him wrestling, cool. I like that. AEW All Access, I like that idea too. Now, there's a couple of things here that are actually pretty good. One, it shows that Warner Brothers is still looking to entrench themselves in AEW. AEW now has, 5 television shows that they run? You say you have Dynamite, you have Rampage, you're going to have All Access, you've got Battle of the Belts, and you still got Elevation, Dark, that's 6 right there. They got a lot of programming, and they only been around for 4 years. So this is very impressive, actually. So I got to give them credit. Warner Brothers is really leaning heavy into AEW. I think it doesn't look very good for Power Slap that that AEW is squeezing out that time slot that quickly. I guess Power Slap road to the title is not about to be. It's on the road to the ground, road off the cliff. Dana White, what happened, baby? What? It was a stupid idea from the beginning. It was absurd. The CTE factory known as Power Slap is probably about to get bumped either till 11 o'clock or hopefully kicked off the network completely. It's a stupid show. Anyway, it's great for AEW that Warner Brothers is looking to get more involved. But here's the one negative. This is something we heard about a year ago. They was talking about doing something like this. I think it was way back when Cody was still there that they were talking about doing some kind of backstage show for AEW, and Cody was involved with it. I don't know if you guys remembered that, but that was one of the things that they were pitching. Around the same time they were doing Roads to the Top, they were also talking about doing some kind of all access, show that guys don't have to participate in if they don't want to and all that kind of stuff. It seemed like they finally decided to do it after CM Punk is gone, after Cody's gone, after all the interesting people have taken off. Now all of a sudden they want to do this show. Okay. But it seems like, at least for the first couple of episodes, and maybe in the first 1 or 2, it's going to be about Adam Cole and his struggles with concussions and stuff like that. That could be very interesting TV. That could be very, very interesting TV. The problem with this is it's probably far more interesting to chop that up and put it into Dynamite rather than trying to get me to watch another hour of AEW programming. But I'm going to give it a chance because I do like this idea. So I'm going to watch maybe the first 2 or 3 episodes of it. just to get a feel for it and see if I actually like it or not. If it comes across as too, scripted or too fake or something like that, I may tune out. And it also depends on how Dynamite is. I got it in me to watch 3 hours. Okay, I got it in me. But especially since one of those hours is not going to be wrestling, it's going to be backstage stuff. That might be interesting. So I don't hate any of these ideas. I think it's a great idea. A lot of people thought it was going to be Forbidden Door 2. I'm thinking Forbidden Door was in June. It is February, bro. It is February. He'll be doing this gimmick again, saying, Tony Khan has a huge announcement. And then it'll be Forbidden Door 2. But for now, it's AEW All Access. The crowd sounded disappointed because they were like, oh, what? All we care about is the wrestling. And I see that being a problem too. This is going to be another tribal issue. There's going to be a lot of people who are not going to watch this AEW All Access because it doesn't have matches and nothing's really going to be going on. I am unsure about whether it's going to be kayfabe or real. If it's going to be real, that might be interesting. If it's going to be some mixture of kayfabe and real, that's going to turn people off. If you're going to talk about Adam Cole and his concussion issue, it sounds like you're going to be talking about some real stuff. Okay, but how real is it going to get? Is it going to get so real that we're all of a sudden going to end up turning heels babyface, turning babyface heel, or whatever the case may be? Probably not, but it's just about how the show is going to be structured, how it's going to be put together. I'm very interested in it. WWE shouldn't do anything like this because I definitely want to see AEW do it first and see how it turns out. And then I'll say, hey, maybe other people should mock that process. But WWE does documentaries and stuff all the time. This is just AEW's attempt to do the same. But I will give them a big thumbs up. And I say it looks good that Warner Brothers is willing to invest another hour of their television program to AEW. They really do like that program. I mean, as much as the rest of us may attack Dynamite and, crap all over it or whatever, Warner Brothers seems to really like it. They're constantly putting over the ratings, even though the ratings aren't that good anymore. They're constantly putting over the ratings, and now they're giving them more product. They're giving them more opportunities. You can't hate on that. We'll see how it turns out in the end, because Rampage is not looking good. Rampage is looking like a gangrene limb at this point. Jesus, it's like having a green leg. It's like you had to chop it off at the knee and just get rid of it. That's how bad Rampage is getting. And I know it was preempted, but it doesn't matter. Jesus Louise. All right. The other note is Tony Khan has made waves. Of course, the last couple of weeks talking about there's a war between WWE and AEW. Cody has come out and said that there is no war. There is no war between, but he specifically said there's no war between the locker rooms. Basically, the boys and the girls of AEW and WWE don't hate each other, which it makes it sound like it's a war or something like that, like a real war. Like the people in the United States aren't really mad at the Russians; they're mad at the Russian government. That's all. That's the Cold War. We ain't really mad at random Muslims. We're mad at the Saudi government or the Iraqi government or whatever. It's just so happened that, average, everyday Iraqi are the ones who end up suffering because of it. We aren't really mad at Cuba. We're kind of mad at Castro, And that's just kind of how the world works. So it makes sense that, that would be the way you would do things. So Cody, despite being full of shit as he usually is, I actually respect that opinion. Tony Khan can learn a lot. But it seems that both WWE and AEW have limited their shots to management. AEW takes shots at WWE, usually Vince or Nick Khan or Triple H. And when WWE takes a shot, it's usually at Tony Khan directly. They don't really take shots at other wrestlers and stuff like that. So I guess that surface level stuff is okay. I guess it's okay. It's like it's suitable for all audiences type of warfare. It ain't got down in the dumps yet. It ain't down in the trenches yet. You know, where the boys are making fun of each other. Like, that's how WCW and WWE, that's how bad it got. When they were doing the Huckster and the Nacho Man, you know, and TNA did it too, where they were doing, what was they call it? The Voodoo Kin Mafia. They was doing Triple H and Shawn Michaels impersonation and stuff like that. They ain't got that bad yet. Praise God. And praise God, it never gets that bad. But Cody basically just saying, Super Switzerland right now. Nobody's to blame. I love Tony, Kenny, Matt, Nick. Love those guys. And none of us hate them. We don't hate those guys. It's like, yeah. Sure, I'm pretty sure that is the case. I'm pretty sure that's the case. All right, let's get into this absolutely absurd show. Jesus Christ. Orange Cassidy defeats Wheeler Yuta. Oh, all right. The setup for this match was that Wheeler Yuta was upset at Orange Cassidy for not training him and for basically allowing Trent to bully him while he was a member of the Best Friends. For starters, he was being bullied by Trent, the guy with a broken neck. Come on. The guy who, you know, rides to work in his mom's minivan. Come on. Come on. Anyway, Yuta blamed Orange Cassidy for this, saying that now he's in the Blackpool Combat Club. He runs with the 3 baddest dudes in AEW, and he's learning a lot more. Orange Cassidy, of course, says that it wasn't his job to teach him anything. He just wanted to be his best friend. So Wheeler Yuta somehow upset about this. So it seems that we're leaning towards Yuta and Claudio and Moxley turning heel, because that's essentially what's happening on this show. So Wheeler Yuta basically was being a douchebag throughout this entire match. Claudio came out there, slapped Wheeler Yuta right in front of the referee. Right in front of the ref, and kind of motivated him to get back in the ring. They did some grapple-y-grap stuff. I don't care about either one of these guys, so I'm not going to lie to you. I do not care about this match. Orange Cassidy wins with the orange punch. They were spitting on each other at one point. I think I broke out in hives. I'm telling you, I'm a germaphobe. It's only 2 ways that this spitting thing is going to go. Either we got to throw fisticuffs, or I'm going to break out and faint like a teenage girl. I cannot stand the spitting. The spitting is just mentally, it screws with me. Saliva is just, you know, it's the spit. It's the projectile spitting that's just bothersome to me. I hate it. I hate it so much. It's one of the grossest things in human history is to spit on somebody. And they were spitting on each other. This is wrestling, man. There's rarely any excuse to ever spit on somebody. Especially if it's real spit. It's just gross. It's horrible. Horrible stuff. And they spitting on each other. Both of them deserve to be spit on, but for Christ's sake. At the end of the match, Orange Cassidy was going to give a hug to the guy he just spit on. And Wheeler Yuta considered giving Orange Cassidy the hug in return. But Claudio came out there, and Yuta was like, oh no, I guess I can't. And he rolled out of the ring and went back up the ramp with Claudio. I'm guessing, just going to guess here, that Claudio is probably about to wrestle for the All-Atlantic belt. Probably win it, have 2 belts, and that should get him on TV. Because he's not been on TV enough. Would I rather he be All-Atlantic champion than Ring of Honor champion? Yes. Because at least if he's All-Atlantic champion, he's on TV. Him being Ring of Honor champion sucks. You know, that sucks. I'll tell you that much. It sucks. All right, moving on. Evil Uno. He's backstage with Hangman Page. Got to give AEW some credit. This was their attempt to tell a story throughout the night. So, Evil Uno is told by Hangman he didn't want these guys to get involved because you can't prepare for a crazy person like Moxley. Evil Uno kind of bucks up against Page and says, when you say things like that, what I hear is that we aren't on your level, we being the Dark Order. And he says that he wants Hangman Page's word that no matter what happens, He will not come out there tonight. He's going to prove that the Dark Order is no joke and try to bring back the honor of the Dark Order. So, in the main event, Evil Uno goes out there and he gets into a fight with Jon Moxley. That's the match. Moxley and Uno. That's the main event. Evil Uno looks like your fat dork neighbor on Purge night. That's exactly what he looks like. He's like he's a doofus that just put a mask on. He's out there flabby, and I'm just looking like, oh my goodness. Oh my word. Why would you? Why? Why is it? Whatever. It wasn't very long, praise God. I'm praising God a lot all of a sudden. Jon Moxley wins with the Bulldog choke. This match sucked. It was stupid. This wouldn't even fit on an episode of WWF Superstars from like 93 or something like that. Uno was trapped in the Bulldog choke. He couldn't get out of it. Moxley held on because he's turning heel now, apparently. This led to everybody in the Dark Order running down. Blackpool Combat Club running into the ring. Everybody's fighting. Then Hangman Page finally broke his word and came to the ring. He got into a fight. I think he punched Moxley with a chain or something like that. So you know what was next? Moxley bleeding. He bleeds again. This guy, he wants the Devon Dudley head. He wants that Dusty Rhodes. It must be like, the old boys who were all about the cauliflower ear. Like, you're not really in the business until you get a cauliflower ear. Like, Jon Moxley's probably in the back holding sermons about you're not really in the business until your head looks like it's been run over with a cheese grater. That's when you're really in the business. That's when you are really a star. When you've bled in every bar and arena of the world over. It's like, you don't need to bleed every week. It loses its impact when you bleed every week. Literally, this doesn't mean anything anymore. Okay, but he's gonna have his match with Hangman. I can't wait for us to get there so they can stop trying to push Hangman as a tough guy. I mean, you can't do it. He's not tough. He doesn't have the look. He doesn't have the demeanor. He doesn't have the edge. Hangman is not tough. Sorry. Evil Uno, stop it. You look like Gorga from the Oddities. Stop it. Go away. Permanent. On a more permanent basis. I know this is probably the first Evil Uno match I've been subjected to in a long time. But I'm telling you, one is too many. We need to shoot Evil Uno into the Atlantic Ocean and make him swim his way back. Ugh. Awful. Every member of the Dark Order should be flayed. They suck. Every one of them. They're garbage. Why are they still there? Of all the people who are threatening to leave AEW, why ain't none of the Dark Order members threatening to leave? They're probably going to go down with the ship. Damn. Like, you might actually, save this company if you throw these guys overboard. Get rid of these dudes. Whew. Jesus Christ. All right. Something that was actually decent but made no sense. Ricky Starks, he comes out there. Ricky Starks says he gives up on trying to get a rematch with Chris Jericho. Knows it's not going to happen. Has an open contract for Revolution. For some reason, Jericho comes out there. Jericho says this thing ain't over until he says so. And that Ricky Starks needs to cherish the one win that he got over him. Because it's never going to happen again. Because he is not on Chris Jericho's level. At that point, Jericho looks like he's about to leave. Peter Avalon, who I didn't recognize because I haven't seen him in forever. He still got that Pringles can mustache, that Ned Flanders thing going on. I don't understand this guy. He comes out there and he's going to take up that contract. And I was thinking, I'll say what I was thinking later. I'll just save it. Jericho then throws one of them shitty elbows that he does. Those shitty back elbows. He threw one of those things. And Peter Avalon took a big bump, laid down, and that was pretty much it. Jericho then gets in the ring. And then says, well, maybe I ought to take you up on that contract. And I'm like, okay. Ricky Stark says, look, we know that you can beat me. The question was whether you can beat me without the Jericho Appreciation Society being there. And Jericho's looking at him. He's like, I'm pretty sure you can. I'm pretty sure you can beat me. And Jericho's like, yeah, I can beat you. I can beat you. And to prove it, I'll even add that the Jericho Appreciation Society are banned from ringside. So then he snatches the contract and signs it. And then Ricky Starks grins like he outsmarted Chris Jericho into signing a contract for a match. I like Ricky Starks cutting the promo. I like that. I like the idea of it being an open contract because, a guy like him should be on the show. But when Chris Jericho got involved, I was like, no, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you for two reasons. One, Ricky Starks should not be trying to fight Chris Jericho. It should be the other way around. Jericho is the one who lost. It was Jericho who lost. Why does Ricky Starks want a rematch? Why would you want a rematch of a match that you won? He really should be trying to move on. Jericho being a dumb bot and signing up for a match that he really didn't want. After Ricky Starks failed to qualify for said match, what was the point of last week's gauntlet then? It seemed like Tony Khan was just said, forget it. Let's course correct and just have the match. It's like, okay, well, if you're going to do that, he shouldn't have lost the gauntlet. He should have won the gauntlet. Come on. Come on, man. We went through all of that to get to the match that nobody wants. We went through all of this just to get to this damn match. A match that had already happened on TV. And we had to go through all these twists and turns. Brother. Okay. At least Ricky Starks cut a promo, at the very least. I was bitching about that. They fixed it. Okay. I thought that they were just going to say screw it and they was going to have Ricky Starks fight Jay White. That's what I thought. Because I'm still of the opinion that AEW needs him and that they will back up the Brinks truck to get him. And that's where I thought they were going with this. I thought they were going to say, oh, yeah, we're going to have a mystery opponent or something like that for him. And it was going to be Jay White or somebody like that. And it was going to elevate Ricky Starks even if he loses. Because, it would have been him being able to cut a promo about how great he is and how, people are taking their time getting in the ring with him and all that kind of stuff. And then it's for it to be a surprise opponent. But no, it's just Jericho. This Revolution card is not looking very good. Next match, speaking of not very good, The Acclaimed versus Big Bill and Lee Moriarty. I wanted to gouge my eyes out. The only good thing about this is Max Caster saying that Big Bill's girl said he was SAWFT. That was great. That was great. That was legit. I give him credit for that. That's a +1 for Max Caster. This match sucked. It was stupid. Lee Moriarty got pinned, of course. During this match, the Gun Boys jumped their own daddy, which, I guess that happens in AEW. It happens quite a bit. But the Gun Boys, they're doing their thing. Speaking of which, let's talk about this Revolution Battle Royal. What a stupid thing this was. It was, 10 teams or something like that. So it was like 20 guys in the ring. I very quickly lost count of the guys that was in the ring. For some odd reason, they brought in Aussie Open for this. And, okay. I was told by Meltzer and them that Aussie Open was one of the greatest teams ever. And they're brought in as a fodder-ass tag team for a battle royal. At one point, Mark Briscoe ran out to the ring just to beat up on Josh Woods. It's like he's already beaten Josh Woods. What is his business with Josh Woods? Can anybody tell me why Mark Briscoe is beefing with Josh Woods? They already had the match. Has something happened since? Danhausen put a curse on 2.0 and then they got eliminated. Satnam Singh helped Jarrett and Lethal quite a bit in this match, and they ended up winning the match, much to the dismay of pretty much everybody, because Death Triangle lost, Top Flight lost, Best Friends lost, and some other teams that people actually liked lost, and Team TNA were the winners. I'm pretty sure so many people are about to have think pieces on how Jeff Jarrett shouldn't be putting himself over in battle royals and stuff. It's not his fault. He's not his own boss. I'm telling you. It's Tony Khan. Khan! The guy needs an editor. Anyway, later in the show, the Gun Boys, they're trying to make a partnership with Team TNA, saying that, how about it just be us? You know, you guys versus us. And them scheming on the Casino Battle Royal next week. It's going to be the same teams, isn't it? You know, so everybody's going to get a second chance. Ho hum, Jesus H. Christ. Let's continue wading through this show. Okay, Christian Cage, he's back. He was going to cut a promo. Then he was attacked by Jungle Boy. This was actually pretty good. Jungle Boy tried to do a concerto on Christian before he got hit in the balls. Then Christian proceeds to whooping his ass and smash his head multiple times into a chair until he was bleeding. And you know what? I'm okay with this. You know, Christian and Jungle Boy, they're not doing bad stuff. Jungle Boy is not an invincible midget now. Christian is, you know, adding some sympathy and some reality to this thing. Even though Jungle Boy got a nice little advantage, you know, Christian with the cheap shot, you know, the veteran move to hit him in the nuts. All right. This was just fine. Saraya has a match with Sky Blue. If you want to even call it a match. I don't know what this was. I don't know what this was, really. Toni Storm distracted the referee. She also distracted Sky Blue. She was just doing a lot outside the ring. Saraya ended up winning, of course. Jamie Hayter ran down to the ring to chase off Saraya and Toni Storm. Toni Storm stopped running away to spray a Baker DMD sign with green paint. What is the significance of the green paint? Why it got to be green? Why isn't like different colors? I don't know what's going on, man. Oh boy. Okay. So then Ruby Soho came out there and started making the old belt motion at Jamie Hayter. Okay. So this was an abomination. I'm telling you, this Saraya thing it ain't working. Now she riled up so many wrestling fans this week. Ooh, I was not ready for this. All she did was basically say she wanted her boyfriend to wrestle Chris Jericho in a match. You know, it's sort of a battle of the bands type of situation, because I guess her boyfriend is some kind of rock star who's interested in wrestling or whatever. He's probably a dweeb. A lot of those guys tend to be dweebs. But apparently he's like a scumbag. And all of the, I guess you could say, left-weight wrestling fans are like, oh no, he's one of the worst guys of all time. And I'm like, okay, did he rape anybody? Did he molest any children? They say he was involved in a murder or something like that. I was like, okay, wait a minute. I don't have time, nor do I have enough interest to sift through who Paige's boyfriend is and why these people hate him so much. So I'm just going to say, on principle, it's probably not a good idea to bring in people who are not wrestlers to wrestle in these companies. But these folks were like, I will legit stop watching AEW if he appears on this show. Saraya is one of the worst ever. You know, all this kind of stuff. I was just looking at that stuff and I was like, wow, the worm turned so fast. It wasn't that long ago everybody was like, she's great. She's the beginning of the women's revolution. It was her and AJ Lee. And now everybody wants her to be fried in oil. Jesus Louise. I heard her boyfriend is a scumbag. That's all I know. I don't gossip, so I don't know what the truth is. If he ain't in prison, then I guess he didn't do something that could be proven. But it also shows that Paige, you know, she might be one of those girls who makes a lot of bad decisions. She made quite a few bad decisions when she was in her youth, like threesomes with cameras around. Now she's making a really bad decision with her boyfriend choices. First it was Alberto Del Rio, and Alberto Del Rio is basically like a sequel to Sicario. It's enough of that guy. And now she's found her another one who's off the reservation. Look, she doesn't make good choices, but whatever. I can't hate on her for having a dickhead boyfriend who wants to wrestle. That's fine. She's just throwing ideas out there. It's not like she got any kind of creative control that can make it happen. She's just tossing ideas. She wanted somebody to listen to her. She didn't think WWE was listening. And now you see the kind of stuff that Vince had to deal with. This is the kind of stuff he had to sift through. Random weirdos popping up, just giving him the dumbest ideas that they got in their brain. And him having to say, you know what? I come up with some dumb stuff, but that was dumb. And then that's it. It ain't as easy as it sounds, bruh. Let the wrestlers have input into their characters. And then you see stuff like this. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it don't always turn out this way, but it turns out this way more often than you think. Who came up with the Goon? Who came up with Skinner? It wasn't Vince. Do your research. He also did not create Max Moon. So a lot of bad WWF ideas, they're not Vince ideas. Trust me. Out of the mouths of those creators, those are not Vince McMahon's ideas. Anyway, we're moving on because we just got to move on. We can't linger. Bryan Danielson, he comes out there, and for the first time, one of the few times during this entire feud, we actually get to hear his voice. He's talking about MJF hating him and how MJF put a bounty on him. MJF tried to injure him, tried to hospitalize his mentor, William Regal. MJF interrupted, then started to talk about Danielson and why he hates Danielson. Says that he has been mistreated by everybody he's ever met, except for this one girl who he loved and wanted to marry her, and then she left him. And the world title became the only thing that prevents him from taking a bottle of pills to end it all. Then he says, but everybody loves Bryan Danielson. The crowd chants for you. You have a beautiful family, and you take life for granted. It said he hates Bryan Danielson because he's been suffering all this head trauma, and yet he still comes back. That you being Danielson, think wrestling is more important than your family. That as a man who wanted to have a family, who couldn't, who had that snatched away from him, this was a spit in my face. You're just as bad as your drug addicted mentor, but you're worse because you're addicted to the spotlight. Teddy said he's going to talk directly to Bryan Danielson's kids, and Danielson said, if you talk to my kids, I want to kick your ass. So then, of course, MJF spends the next 3 minutes talking directly to the camera, and Bryan Danielson just stood there because apparently his word doesn't mean anything. And MJF starts talking about he's going to break Daddy's arms. He's not going to be able to pick you up. He's not going to, his brain's going to be scrambled. Yada yada. He's going to give Daddy CTE. And then after he got in the ring, Danielson hit him. They brawled until they separated, and MJF kind of scattered and ran away. MJF does a good job of always having a sob story. The character just has all these sob stories like, hey, this bad thing happened to me and it kind of made me what I am today. And so now we've gone through, he was bullied as a kid for being Jewish and all that kind of stuff. So he was being a popular but drunkard, kind of a knucklehead teenager. So now he was brokenhearted, and, he got his heart broken by William Regal. He got his heart broken by CM Punk. Now he got his heart broken by a random girl. I'm pretty sure it wasn't the girl he almost killed in a car crash. I'm pretty sure that wasn't that girl. But he brings that up. Now, again, separation of ideas. MJF should have just stuck to Danielson, thinking that wrestling is more important than his family. And I like that angle. That's a great angle. That's one that works specifically for Danielson. And Danielson not responding to that is an interesting angle for them to pull too. Because you would think that Danielson would have a response to that. Because that's the kind of comment that under normal circumstances, people would be like, you know, that guy kind of got a point. You know, like you were forcefully retired and everybody knows this. Everybody in the AEW fan base knows this. There's not a single person sitting in a chair or watching this show that doesn't know that Bryan Danielson, as it was at one point, forcefully retired. So everybody knows that part is true. Everybody knows who his wife is. Everybody knows he has children. So all of this is true. So now people are standing there looking at Danielson like, yeah, why are you still doing this? You're not doing it for the money. You got plenty of money. At least you should. What are you doing this for? You know, why go through all this? And Danielson, as a babyface, should have a response. But they didn't give him a response. What they give him is for him to stand there like a dumbass while MJF goes on and on and on about how he's going to break his arms and do all this kind of stuff. Maybe we could have saved that latter part for a different time. As I'm saying, a separation of ideas. They have MJF on screen so long that he literally talks about 3 or 4 different things. And it's too much information coming at you at once. Break it down. You could have brought him back later. Or maybe he says that you think that wrestling is more important than your family. And then Danielson cut him off, corrected him, told him why he's doing what he's doing. But says, you know, for starters, mind your own business, kid. You know, I'm going to win the world title, and then maybe I'll go and celebrate with my family, yada, yada, yada. And then maybe he starts the whole, I'm going to say this to your kids, and then Danielson goes out there in the ring and runs MJF off. Then MJF can just go interrupt an interview or something like that and say, this is what I was going to say, yada, yada, yada. Separate that stuff. And then give Danielson an opportunity to respond or to attack or something like that. So that MJF can run away and then go into his spiel later where Danielson is not there. Therefore, when he's talking to Danielson's kids about all the horrible things he's going to do, Danielson's not standing there looking like a fucking idiot the entire time. You know, just small things. You can do small things to fix this. Small things. Overall, though, it was okay. MJF just kind of making up his own origin as he goes along is what it is. I forgot about this because it doesn't matter. But Jamie Hayter couldn't decide on whether she wants to fight Ruby Soho or Saraya for the title. She argued that Saraya doesn't deserve it. She's won 2 matches since she's been here. But Ruby's been busting her ass, so she's willing to give Ruby a shot and says, screw it, let's make it a 3-way. And I was like, yeah, this show ain't going nowhere fast, Brody. Is that it? That it for Dynamite? It's looking like that's it. Jeez Louise. Christ on a cracker. Oh yeah, the House of Black. Okay, the House of Black want to face the Elite for the Trios Championships. So they said thousands of people feel how we feel. There's a problem that needs to be eradicated. Then said they're going to start a fire that's going to purify the land on which the house will build their kingdom or something or other. Then said they would like to discuss the Elite's status as Trios champions on Rampage. And that should tell you right there how important the House of Black is. Because, oh yeah, we like to discuss this on Rampage. You know, the show that nobody watches. The show that gets the lowest viewers of any wrestling show outside of really, really small independents like Impact and MLW. Yeah. You want to... I don't want to be seen by the biggest audience. I want to be seen by the smallest audience. Yeah. Smaller the audience, better. Yeah. You want dummies. Dumb dummies. Man, this is a stupid show. Tony Khan must be off the good stuff. Whatever. I don't know what it is, But these shows have gotten really bad. Like, I could at least enjoy Dynamite, even if I didn't care for it. I could at least enjoy it. But now I find myself barely even looking at the screen half the time. I just look at the screen, I see Orange Cassidy, I see Wheeler Yuta, and I just assume it's going to be 15 minutes. I just I peek up every once in a while and say, yeah, I'll watch enough of it to say that I watched it, but I'm not intrigued. I'm not bought in. I'm just not in. And nothing on this show really captured my imagination or captured my attention outside of the MJF Danielson stuff, but that's only because I know those two guys are going to bring something out. And MJF, even on a promo where I feel like he's doing too much, he is actually engaging with the performers that he's talking to. Yes, he's reaching quite often. He's trying very hard, but he's usually having these one-sided feuds. Since he came back, he's been having one-sided feuds. He had to do all the talking. And the other guy barely gets to say anything. He has to do most of, if not all of the talking. And maybe it's Tony Khan's way of saying, we're going to get our money's worth out of you. But ultimately, what made the CM Punk thing work, what made the Cody thing work, was the opponent being able to banter back and forth with MJF. You know, the guy being able to take some digs and go after MJF a little bit. Danielson is a good promo. He's not CM Punk, or anything like that, but he's a decent promo. He can go at MJF if they let him. He could challenge MJF if they let him, but they're not going to let him. He's just an empty vessel that's standing there so MJF can yell at him. And that's not really conducive to really getting Danielson over. And I'm not saying that Danielson needs to be sold to the audience. We already know he's the bigger star in this match. That being said, you still want to build the heat as an ebb and flow between two guys. Danielson has gotten his hands on MJF, in fight scenes and stuff like that. But he hasn't took it to him verbally yet, which is partially what we want. We want him to beat him up. That's usually after MJF stands there for 5 or 6 minutes, completely and totally unmolested, saying whatever he wanted, whatever disgusting, stupid things he wants to say out of his mouth. Then we want to see him get beat up, and then he eventually usually does and blows off some of that heat that he just got. Instead of just going back and forth and then maybe even chasing him off or whatever. But I'm okay with what they're doing, at least on the top. The top is fine. Danielson and MJF, they're at least respectable. It's everything in that undercard that is an absolute mess. They did a vignette for Samoa Joe and Wardlow, and I honestly forgot it happened because it's just a replay of what they said last week about Wardlow getting his hair cut and Joe not really giving a damn about that. Okay. We're in dire straits in AEW. They need to take some chances. They really do need to take some chances. It's at the point now where I'm saying like they probably need one of those big surprises that they used to dump out every week. They probably need one. They probably need 1 or 2 of them right now to get that energy back. That's the big thing missing from AEW. The crowd is still hot regardless. The crowd loves everybody that comes out of the shoot. But the people sitting at home are kind of like, don't care about this guy, don't care about that guy. Don't care about this guy, don't care about that guy. And the ratings are bearing it out. The stars disappeared. Moxley wrestles on TV pretty much every week. And since he wrestles on TV every week against nobodies, he's not drawing and he's not a big star either. You have to put him in situations where people care about him. Again, storytelling. Storytelling is what you should be doing. Instead of Moxley having nothing matches with bums, and the Evil Uno match at least makes sense because he's in a storyline with Hangman Page and so is Evil Uno. At least that makes sense. But lo and behold, they're probably going to put him on Rampage in a dumb match that means nothing. and then are surprised it doesn't pop a rating. Tony Khan needs to realize it's very rarely the names. Most rarely it's the situations. People want to see stories unfold. You had many, many weeks to unfold a story that would sell Revolution. He didn't do a good job of it. So now he got 2 weeks left, a week left and some change. He needs to pull a rabbit out of a hat, because I don't see AEW Revolution really selling that well, and he better hope that I'm about to call him Michael Cole, Adam Cole, his return can pop a rating, otherwise he needs to back up the Brinks truck to CM Punk and beg him to come back. And I'm saying this as, top 10 guys don't like Phil on the internet, but he needs help. Your boy down bad. Your boy's suffering. He needs help. AEW's in bad shape. What say you guys? Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
MongoSlade. Best house I ever drew, Daddy.